No, sain tuon chatinkin toimimaan tuohon näytöltä. Että katsotaan nyt. Nyt vielä muista sitten, mitä kaikkea tässä nyt on. Piti vielä tehdä.
The Merchants' Guild was the youngest of the Ankh-Morpork guilds, founded in self-defense by the city's traders and shopkeepers, when they realized their role in the grand scheme of things was to be robbed. Robbing fat merchants, it seemed, was a perfectly socially acceptable, even heroic thing to do. Consequently, they weren't the friendliest of guilds either. I wasn't holding out much hope that they'd help me. Evening.
Usually is when the sun sets.
Is everyone in this city a smart aleck?
Who's he?
He used to be a regular at the Mended Drum. He made a reputation as a know-it-all.
Used to be?
The Mended Drum is a bad place to use the phrase no.
Where did they find his body?
The Shades. And the Diesel Gate. His kidney down a well in Dolly's sister's, I think. Bits of his innards all over the place. Sounds like he had a lot of guts. So how did you end up working on the door?
Oh, there's only so many good positions to go around.
I take it this isn't one of them.
Oh, it's not that bad. I get to hear all the interesting news with this job.
And has anything interesting happened recently?
Oh, yes.
Such as?
We got a new kettle. Much nicer than the one with the leak that we used to use.
You boiled water in a kettle with a hole?
Well, we made a lot of steam anyway. It wouldn't stay in the cups, though.
And that's the most exciting thing that's happened here.
Oh, exciting. If you want exciting, you should see the new colour scheme in the coin shaving room.
Come on. Someone was murdered. Wasn't that exciting?
Oh, sure.
Why didn't you mention that?
A guild policy. We're not to discuss the incident with outsiders.
Oli ihanaa, että kuinka jännittävä uutinen oli hankkia uusi teepannu. Vaikka tuolla paikassa joku on murhattu.
What's all this about coin shaving?
You haven't heard of coin shaving?
No, I didn't even know they grew hair.
Well, you take a coin and you carefully shave off some of the gold, which you can then melt down and sell. Easy money.
I think I see a problem with that.
Yeah?
Well, I didn't think there was any gold in Ankh-Morpork dollars.
Well, there isn't. Not anymore. We kind of shaved them too much.
So what do you use the coin shaving room for?
We keep the kettle there. It sets off the new decor superbly.
That's why you redecorated it?
No, we used to keep the old kettle there, only all the wallpaper fell down.
I don't understand. Why is it guild policy not to discuss the murder?
Well, as you probably know, we formed the guild to stop the dreadful habit of visiting heroes robbing all the fat merchants.
Yeah, I heard
Kyllä
that.
se joillekin on se uusi teepannu. Äärimmäisen tärkeä.
Using that special landlord a flagon of your finest ale hero talk. Let us relieve him of some of his ill-gotten gains. Pon my scalliard. Next thing you know, they'd robbed you blind. That's the thanks you get for years of service.
Years of service, carefully mixing sand in the sugar and switching the number plates of the donkey carts.
Hey, that's a very stilted view. What about all the other top-quality bargains we offer?
Ah, yes. All those once-in-a-lifetime, never-to-be-repeated, absolutely didn't fall off the back of a cart offers?
Exactly. Plus, we keep the economy of the city running.
By giving small sums to the less smelly beggars?
Annually, yes.
You were telling me about guild policy.
Ah, yes. Anyway, it was decided that it would be the Merchants Guild's policy to fully further the aims of its members, advertise the civic charms of Ankh-Morpork, and beat 7 kinds
Ja
of
tässä
hell out of
ei
anyone
mistään
with a
pienistä
northern loincloth.
Advertise the civic
pienistä
charms of
iloista, vaan
Ankh-Morpork?
enemmänkin.
Are you saying you don't like Ankh-Morpork?
Oh, no.
Niin.
Absolutely
No
not.
just
I heard what you
hävitin
guys
sen
did
sanan,
to
mitä piti sanoa.
Castroaster.
Damn straight. He got tired real quick.
This doesn't explain why you can't discuss the murder with me.
Well, the Merchants Guild is supposed to be the shining beacon that shows the rest of the world how unsurpassably wonderful Ankh-Morpork is.
By robbing them blind?
Boy, watch it.
Sorry. Continue.
Anyway, the point is, it's bad publicity if we're seen to have a murder in our ranks.
Couldn't you sell it as a tourist attraction?
What?
You know, come to Ankh-Morpork, site of the infamous counterweight killings.
Show some respect. A merchant lies dead, struck down in his prime.
So do half a dozen other people.
True, but they weren't merchants.
No yritän miettiä nyt sitä sanaa. Tässä, kun tuo peli hölöttää koko ajan tuossa taustalla, niin sitä aina menee itse sanoissa sekaisin. Niin siis pienet ilot, mutta siinähän se onkin, että kun nämä on niin sokeita kaikille muulle maailmalle sitten, niin se on hirveä oma hyväisyys. Jotain sellaista mulla oli päässä, en mä enää muista.
So how exactly do you go about advertising the civic charms of Ankh-Morpork?
We pursue those misguided people who publicly fail to recognize the many attractive points of this fine city.
Pursue?
Yes, we hire large gangs of men with ears like fists and fists like walnuts to point out that Ankh-Morpork is in fact a marvellously clean and decent city in which to live. A process whose ongoing nature might be swiftly curtailed if they don't shut up right now.
I suspect they see sense.
Oh yes, even if their eyes are a bit swollen.
Niin, joko tykkäät keräystä tai saat turpaa.
I had a Do you recognize this moss?
I don't know anything about that.
Tempting as it... I had a...
No niin.
Can you think...
I can't.
What do you know about a woman named Carlotta?
Well, no one I know.
Do you know a woman...
Well, no one I...
What do you know?
Well, no one
Have you heard about the counterweight killings?
Who hasn't? It's the talk of the town. A gruesome serial killer in our own backyard.
Ankh-Morpork, where major political events are never talked about, but grisly murders are discussed over the dinner table.
Hey, if it isn't local news, I'm not interested.
Oh, of course. 10,000 killed in a pogrom in Omnia is irrelevant. But Ankh-Morpork man stubs toe on the Magdalen Bridge. Oh, that's news.
Someone stubbed their toe on the Magdalen Bridge?
Never mind. Do you know anything about Reagan's murder?
I can't help you there.
Can you?
I can't.
What do you know about the murder of...
I can't.
What do you know about the...
I don't know anything about that.
Do you know a troll by the name of Jasper Horst?
Well, no.
There's talk of a bestial attacker loose in Ankh-Morpork.
Uh-huh.
I was wondering if it might have killed that merchant.
Wonder away. But I'm not discussing the incident with you.
Damn. Do you know anything about the murder of one of the...
I can't.
Do you know anything about the murder?
I can't.
About this merchant that was killed?
Sorry, I'm not allowed to discuss the incident with outsiders. A guild policy.
It wouldn't hurt to tell me the broad details, would it?
It would hurt a lot. They'd throw me off the roof.
No one's going to know.
I'd know about hitting the ground.
Is it really that important to you?
The Merchants Guild takes its policies very seriously.
So it seemed. I had to find a way to exploit that. I did this.
Ai sitten.
Well, goodbye for now. There was no obvious connection to the fuchsia scent. The rich aroma of gas, certainly. Ah, the famous stench. There was a certain similarity between the purple. They both belong. There was... he could... Who would... I'd like to see... Is she... I will get... While the butler was gone, I slipped into my wolf form. A purple scent stretched across the hallway, and I instantly knew it was Carlotta. But that wasn't all. The richness of her odor told me something else. Carlotta was a werewolf, just like me.
It seems that Carlotta is not in her room.
Take a message. Tell her to meet me at the Café Ankh later tonight.
As Sir wishes.
If Carlotta was the werewolf who infected me, I wanted to speak to her as soon as possible. Sheesh! You'd think a guy could take one kiss and wake up the same shape next day, wouldn't you?
Katsotaan, vaikuttikohan tuo heti. Vaikutti.
You wanted to see me.
I tried to reach you at the mansion, but you're never around when I need you.
You never need me when I'm around.
A funny thing happened to me the other day.
You arranged all this just to tell me an anecdote?
It's a funny little story. I think you'll like it.
I'm listening.
The other night, someone stuck a sword through my ribs.
Ah, it must have been someone who knew you well.
The thing is, not long afterwards, I was in my coffin thinking about it when I realized I wasn't dead.
That was lucky.
Luck was not a factor. Why did you do it, Carlotta?
Do what?
Make me a werewolf.
If I hadn't, you'd be dead. Would you prefer that?
That's not the point, and you know it. You did something to me that was going to change who I was for the rest of my life, and you didn't even tell me.
I didn't think you'd understand. Besides, it wasn't as if I planned it.
Are you telling me you turned me into a werewolf by accident?
How long have you been a werewolf now?
Not long.
Have you felt what it's like? That force that pulls on you, that draws your attention to every jugular, pulsing with life. The irrepressible call of fresh blood. A sudden attention to the phases of the moon.
I have to fight to keep control.
We all do. Coming to a city of 1 million people, it's like a starving monkey wandering into a banana plantation. You learn to live with it.
And you decided to infect me with lycanthropy?
Infect is such a negative word. I prefer blessed.
You think this is a gift?
Of course it's a gift. It's the greatest gift I could give to someone, and I chose you.
Why?
You're a smart man, Luton. Figure it out.
I can't help but notice that your recurring alibi for the murders is that you were at the Temple of Small Gods.
Everyone needs a little solace.
You seem to need...
I'm not easily satisfied.
Which god is...
I really don't.
Come on, I only want...
All right, but
Can I pry...
My...
Now that there are no secrets between us, do you know what this is?
I've no idea. Some sort of coin?
I got a key from Reagan's body. It led me to this. It's empty.
It's empty.
Mean anything to you?
No, nothing.
Do you recognize this moss?
I'm sure you can think of something better to ask me, Luton.
So, how many people have you killed?
I'm not that kind of a werewolf.
I suspected you were a killer even when you were just a woman. Now, I'm certain of it.
I was never just a woman.
You expect me to believe you've never killed anyone?
I have a lot of self-control.
It didn't seem that way when we kissed.
Don't mistake passion for a lack of self-control.
Do all werewolves see the world the same?
Everyone sees the world differently, Luton. That's what life is all about.
I meant the colors. Do you see the same colors I do?
What color is the smell of the river Ankh to you?
A kind of cacophonous bright green.
I guess we do then.
Whoever killed me had a distinctive magenta scent. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Doesn't ring any bells.
There was something else about it, like a kind of fluorescent sparkle.
Like a greenish yellow-purple?
That's the one.
That's octarine.
Octarine? Sounds like a type of fruit.
It's the 8th color of the spectrum.
8th?
The basic color of which other colors are merely pale shadows impinging on conventional reality. The color of magic.
Conventional reality?
Or what passes for conventional on the Discworld.
What's that supposed to mean?
If I always knew what I meant, I'd be a genius.
So what smells of octarine?
Anything magical.
Then how come I've never seen it before? There must be 100 magical things in the city. Unseen University should glow like a sparkler.
Mortals can't see it, only wizards. Although we can smell it, of course.
That doesn't explain why Unseen University doesn't reek of it.
Well, it fades quickly in sunlight, and in extreme cases, walks away.
Have you seen anything?
What kind?
A little birdie eater told me that Malachite was killed by something bestial.
A werewolf?
I don't think so. Whatever, it was vicious.
You don't think werewolves are vicious? You should hear my aunts talk about me behind my back.
I think whatever this thing is... Do you know anything about the murder of one of the patrician's clerks?
No, I don't.
Do you know anything about the...
No.
Have you heard about the recent murder?
Sorry, Lut. I'm not an expert on murder.
There didn't seem... Where can I find you?
I'll be around.
That's not very helpful.
What can I say? I go where I want to, with anybody I want. I just happen to be that kind of girl.
This isn't over, Carlotta.
I hope not. We don't have to be enemies, Luton.
We'll never be friends.
Let's not fight, Luton. We can work together, recover the sword together.
I don't know who you are anymore.
I'm the same girl I ever was, Luton. It's you that's changed.
You're telling me.
You know, Luton, you don't have to work with me. You don't have to say anything, and you don't have to do anything. Not a thing. Oh, maybe just howl. You know how to howl, don't you, Luton? You just pull your jaws apart and blow.
After Carlotta had left, I sat alone in the cafe, thinking about my problems. As bad as it seemed, my life was still better than it was a few years ago. Back then, I would have sat alone in the cafe, drinking through my problems. I need your
Kun ei keksi mitään, niin pitää mennä tää hullun kanssa juttelemaan. Se voi yhtään muista mitä mä oon tuonut.
Carlotta says she's a... Is that...
I am the unless you do.
How could I... Surely...
Either you've just had a use.
Okay.
I heard a prominent merchant was killed.
That's right. A gangland killing. They told Bjorn.
No nääkin.
It turns out that Carlotta is a werewolf.
Really? I'll have to work out how that changes the web of the conspiracy. Mumble, 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 mumble. Move that chain of command here. Mumble, 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 mumble. Carry the one. Mumble, 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 mumble. Mumble, 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 mumble.
Well?
This could take a couple of days, Luton. Bear with me.
Forget about it. I'll have to...
Try.
I have some more. Ask them. I couldn't exactly slip the fact. Well,
Did I tell you that we're giving away free tea towels?
I'm back.
Good.
Do you recognize this moss?
Gordon, Bennett, who'd you...
I had a feeling. I know this woman called Carlotta von Uberwald. It seems she's a werewolf.
She the one that infected you?
Yes, although I don't know if she meant to do it.
What? You mean she accidentally bit you?
Yeah, she was kissing me.
Bitches. Nothing but trouble.
What do you...
Gordon.
Thanks for your...
I just...
Carlotta claimed she worshipped...
Ei. Taas väärä. Noniin, lopetas. Oikea nappia.
When I smelled Carlotta's scent in the von Uberwald mansion, I knew she was a werewolf. Carlotta claimed she worshipped the goddess Errata. I'd found Reagan's body in his carriage in the river under the Magdalen Bridge. Clark's Gable had told me that whatever killed Malachite was some kind of beast. He wasn't clear on the details. One of the patrician's Clarks had been murdered, apparently as part of the counterweight killings. The counterweight killings had struck at the Unseen University, and the reader of... According to Nobby, a prominent merchant had been... It always looked much easier in the... Can I ask you a few questions?
Well, we are a little busy at the moment. Can it wait?
How long?
Just a day or so.
No, then it can't wait.
Very well. What did you want to know?
No,
What is that
tästä.
thing you're working on?
It's my flapping wing flying device. I had put it to one side, but I had an inspiration and decided to go back to developing it.
What was the inspiration?
It occurred to me that if I modified my turning the wheels with pedals and another wheel machine to turn the spinning blades radiating from central hub, I might be able to produce a flapping wing flying device that could be driven forward by a human operating the pedals with his feet.
Will it work?
If we can to be solving the minor problems, it might just maybe will be yes.
What are the problems you're experiencing?
Mainly weight. If it is going to fly, it has to be light. But Two Conkers has suggested using bombastic wood for the frame, which is extremely light for its strength. I have to rate one of my floating designs to get enough of the stuff, but it should work.
If weight is a problem, why does it seat 2 people?
The patrician said he would be most interested in the device if it could be used to fly 2 people.
You don't know why?
Well, he said he was interested in how far you could travel in it.
Come to think of it, I suppose veterinary might be interested in getting a long way from the city in a hurry one day. Could you fly a long distance in it?
Now imagine you'd get very tired. Still, if it were moving over a flat surface, you might get some additional lifting things up force reflected off the ground, which would mean it would be easier. I call this the reflecting some of your lifting things up force off the ground effect.
Well, this is all very interesting, but it isn't helping my case much. I was tempted. I still haven't worked out what this is for.
That's a nice.
To be a coin from Sota, that much is clearing. Had one at Dig in Sota, just like that.
Are you sure it's a coin?
Sureness hard to be.
You got that right. Do you recognize this moss?
What are you being said?
I knew full well that asking either Leonard or Two Conk... What do you know of...
I'm sorry? The name means nothing.
Do you know where Ilsa is?
To be knowing is not the me I am in.
You don't know.
No.
I think that's the first time I've heard a straight answer out of you. What do you...
I'm sorry?
Do you know anything about the counterweight killings?
What? Sorry, I was a little distracted.
I knew full well that I knew... What do you know about the goddess Errata?
That might just work.
It may to be of much sureness.
Never mind. I couldn't... Do you know...
I'm sorry? The name?
Do you know anything about some kind of...
What are you being said?
I knew full well. I found the golden sword I was looking for. It had a slightly curved blade and seemed to have quite a heavy end.
Sounding like a falcon.
A falcon?
I believe he means a falchion.
Yes, to be a typing of blade for slashing. Like a scimitar, but with weight at end.
With a weighted end.
Thanking you.
This jewel that you're looking for, Two Conk...
As sure Found inscription in hole in dig.
And what language was the
Inscription.
and how well do you
Oh, at leasting as well to be speaking.
That's what I decided to leave them to their work. I doubted they even noticed I was gone. I headed back the way I'm back. What do you...
I can't help you.
This... Have you heard about...
We don't.
Do you know when...
We don't.
I hear one of the clerks got murdered.
Ask questions like that and we...
On what?
Well, on the path.
Do you know anything about some kind of beast stalking the streets?
I can't help you with that, son.
Do you know what
I don't know.
Me.
Thanks for that. The scent was too faint to remember. The dark green scent was clearly vegetable in origin. It was the same scent.
Niin. Nyt tää menee kyllä sellaiseksi pyörimiseksi. Yrittää keksiä. Noniin. Eli löytyy joku tavarakeviä kaiken lisäksi.
I'd found the plaster-encrusted bandages on the floor of Rodin's workshop. Apart from the fact that they'd been soaked in plaster and left to dry, there didn't seem to be anything unusual about them. Examining the indents left in the dried plaster, it looked as if there had been a face under the bandages. I'm back.
Good.
Do these bandages mean anything to you?
Gordon, Benny, who'd you...
I need your help.
They'll...
What do these...
It looks like a jelly baby and Mummy's burial wrap.
And the plaster?
Perhaps he's been decorating.
No, hyvin loogista.
I'll have to go. The truth is out there.
Trust no one.
Behind Mooncap. If I strained, I... My usual, please. Luton, you're... What? Is my tie not done up straight? Is there an unfortunate mark on my nose? I heard you were dead. Perhaps I am. Get me a stiff drink. How about a whiskey? Don't you want something with it? All right, put another whiskey in there. Drinking like that'll kill you. I'm dead already. You didn't come back here to drink, did you? I couldn't What do you know about that? If you asked few, I read. Do you know a troll? I know a lot of... Do you know anything? Leave me this... You wouldn't happen to have heard anything about the murder of one of the patrician's clerks, would you? No one outside of the palace knows anything. Except the commander of the watch. I heard that the patrician has asked Commander Vimes to come and speak to him about it sometime soon. Hadn't he already gone to see him? Hey, what do I know? I'm just a bartender with big ears. Perhaps he just wants an update on the case. Whatever. Apparently one of the wizards up at Unseen University got themselves killed. That's right. The reader of esoteric accounting or something. Esoteric occultism, yeah. How did you know that? I was speaking to Mrs. Foames earlier. Mrs. Foames? She's the head chambermaid up at the new hall. One of the halls of residence? Yeah, the big one that runs off from the huge library. What did she have to say? Just that this wizard had died in mysterious circumstances. Although she sounded like mysterious circumstances are pretty normal up there. It'd be a nice change if someone died in unmysterious circumstances for a change. Can't be easy working at the university. You couldn't pay me enough to make me work there. Oh no? No amount of money would make you work there? Well, obviously not a huge amount. For enough money I'd do anything. Anything? Well, not involving fish, broccoli, or vinegar. I hear a prominent merchant has been killed. Heard anything about it? All I heard was that someone in the Merchants Guild got killed. That's all I know. I did this. The... See you around. Yeah, whatever. I couldn't imagine. What?
Mikähän sekin oli?
Unseen University was looking for someone to make the beds and do the laundry at the new hall.
Mm.
Unseen University was positioned along a large stretch in the River Ankh, and its campus was convoluted enough that it was hard to tell where the university ended and the city began. It would be wrong to say that the people of the city respected the wizards of the university, and it would be wrong to say that they hated them. In fact, all you could really say was that both the citizens and the wizards were glad of the wall that stopped them from having to socialize on a daily basis. Mrs. Foames,
Yes, I am she. What do you want?
may I come in?
No, you may not.
I've come about the job.
Is that a fact? Very well, you may enter, but wipe your feet. I won't have the help messing up the carpets. Now, you've come for the job, Mr.
Luton. And yes, I am interested in the job.
Well, as the head chambermaid, the decisions about hiring staff falls on my shoulders. Do you have any experience?
No, but I'm a fast learner.
Well, the pay is $2 a day. There are no perks. If you want it, it's yours.
Can you tell me about Unseen University?
It's not the business of help to discuss their employers.
Do these bandages...
I have better things to be doing.
Do you recognize this moss?
I have...
I had a... I'll take the job. When do I start?
You can start now by making the beds. The dorm is through that door. I advise you to leave before the students get back.
Why?
Boys will be boys, Mr. Luton, and apprentice wizards are the worst kind of boys imaginable.
This... What do you know?
I have...
Is it dangerous working here? Only I heard that one of the wizards was murdered.
Don't let that bother you, Mr. Luton. The affairs of the staff are not our concern.
You don't think I'm in any danger?
Goodness, no. The odd death is just the natural course of campus politics, I'm afraid. It's a shocking turn of affairs, but we mustn't question it. Dead men's pointy boots, and all that.
Dead men's pointy boots?
Yes. No questions asked as to the manner of their emptying, if you know what I mean.
I see. Have you heard...
Murder.
Do you know anything...
Murders are hardly...
Do you know anything...
Murders...
Do you know anything about...
I have better...
Do you know...
Not anyone...
Do you...
Murders...
What do you know...
Murders...
Can you...
Murders... Murder...
What do you know...
Not any...
Do you know...
Not any...
What do you know...
Not any...
I guess I'd better get to work.
Very good.
the lair of the redoubtable Mrs. Foames, the head chambermaid. Mrs. Foames?
Well, what I have?
I guess it was my job to make the beds. Watch how fast I go. For a brief moment, I considered actually making the beds. Fortunately, good sense prevailed. The octarine board appeared blank to my eyes, but I had a feeling there was something written on it I couldn't see. A few sticks of chalk, a type of chalk made from octarine carbonate, were resting on the top of the board. Carlotta had told me that only wizards could see octarine, which explained why the board looked blank to me. She also said that as a wolf I could smell octarine, which opened up a new avenue of inquiry. The dorm was full of the jangling scents of the students, but the most surprising thing was the octarine board. As a wolf, I smelt the words on the board. The chalk marks showed up as sparkling traces against the odorless board. It seemed to be a list of subjects the young apprentices were studying. Occult perils of lace-making, basic myth and monsters, principles of thaumic imponderability, temples of the great Nev. Under the list of subjects were the words, "You must read a chapter on each before the next lecture." The students had their very own unlockers to keep their possessions in. This locker seemed to wobble slightly. Unlike the other unlockers, this one seemed to be levitating a few inches above the ground. Probably one of the students' cantrips that hadn't worn off yet. As for the unlocker's contents, the less said about them, the better. This unlocker seemed rugged, if slightly beaten up. I searched the unlocker, but found nothing I wanted to think too hard about. Even as a human, I could smell something very disturbing coming from this particular unlocker. Given the smell of the unlocker, I was grateful it was locked. This sturdy-looking unlocker seemed in better condition than the others. The only interesting thing I could find in the unlocker was some books. I guess the rumors about the students weren't true. They did do some studying. What have we got? Occult Primer, Monster Fun Grimoire, Fulamyth, The Theory of Thaumic Imponderability, Lost Temples of the Great Nev. The only interest. I was pretty sure I'd learned all I was going to learn. Not in front of. The burly porter had inflexible written all over him in large ironclad letters.
What are you doing here?
The name's Luton. I'm working for Mrs. Foames.
You're the new bed maker, eh? Well, you can't come any further than this, Luton. Wizards only in the library, thank you.
Wizards only?
Well, wizards, apprentices, and orangutans.
Are you a porter?
No, I'm a bledlow. And there's a difference, all right?
What's a bledlow?
We look after the students.
Look after them?
Just like the watch looks after the city.
You throw your weight around and beat them senseless when they do something wrong?
That's about the size of it, yeah. You don't mess with the lobsters.
Lobsters?
Just a nickname we've picked up over the years.
Why?
If you see us get our hands on a student, you'll understand.
You make it sound like you're hunting them down.
Of course, all students are guilty of everything.
Where are all the students?
They're off playing Unseen University Challenge against the students from the Assassin's Guild.
What does that involve?
I don't know. Given the way most sports are conducted round here, it probably involves a very careful inspection of half the pubs in Ankh-Morpork.
What makes you say that?
Heard of the City and Guilds?
No.
When the guilds started setting up their own colleges, there was a lot of rivalry between the various students.
Rivalry?
Well, the university students used to be ambushed by gangs from the guilds, really.
Used to be.
Well, given the faculty's relaxed attitude to sudden death, most of the staff preferred dead students on account of them being easier to teach. But I gather the guilds decided that enough was enough because all the bodies around the place made it very hard to open doors.
So what did they do?
They founded the City and Guilds Match. See, the idea was to carry a football right from the outskirts of the Shades to the Tower of Art, goals being scored by kicking the ball through the door of certain landmarks.
What sort of landmarks?
The sort with names like the Mended Drum and the Bunch of Grapes. The scoring team was bought drinks by the other teams, you see. And after a few years, the Arch-Chancellor ruled that only one goal could be scored in each pub since the match had, for 3 years running, had gone on for a month. Yeah.
What's this got to do with Unseen University Challenge?
Well, the university tends to leave the City and Guilds Match to the guilds. They prefer a more cerebral challenge.
Such as going straight to the pub, not passing go, and not bothering to come back?
That'd be my guess, yes.
So they're not coming back?
Well, they'll be back. They need to come to the library to get their course books.
I had a... Do you
I'm just a... No.
I had a... Do these bandages mean anything to you?
No,
What do you know?
no one.
Do you know a woman named...
No one I've heard of.
What do you know?
No one I've heard of.
Do you know any...
It's not me place to discuss.
Do you know anything about Reagan's murder? Can you think of...
It's not.
What do you know?
It...
What do you know about the goddess?
I'm...
I couldn't... Do you?
No one I've heard.
Do you know anything about...
No, I don't know anything.
Do you know... I hear the reader of esoteric occultism was murdered.
Yep. Old Mathan was so full of poison, even the worms wouldn't touch him.
He was poisoned.
That's right. Right here in the Widdershins wing of the university.
You don't sound concerned.
I just keep an eye on the students. The wizards can do what they like to each other.
Who do you think killed Matham?
That shouldn't be hard to work out, eh? Just see who fills his shoes.
You think it was an internal matter?
I don't see why not. No one else has got a reason to be killing wizards, have they, eh?
Have you heard about... The duel wasn't the kind of thing I wanted to discuss with just anyone. Have you heard the expression, dead men's pointy boots?
Of course.
What does it mean?
Well, towards the upper levels of magic, where the number of positions get few and far between, wizards advance primarily by the untimely death of their bosses.
And the pointy boots?
Well, the point is, no questions are asked as to the emptying of those pointy boots.
Well, The door led to the library of the unseen university.
Where do you think you're going?
Just going for a walk.
Stay in the new hall. Students and wizards only beyond this point.
Mrs. Folmes?
Well, what do you want? I haven't...
The wizard was poisoned, I hear.
I think you could use a little less gossip and a lot more work, Mr. Luton. Very good.
Jaa, pitää alkaa lopettella, kun akku loppuu kuulokkeesta.